I am a regular person. I'm not a size 2. Curves are cool and hot. I'm not a rapper, athlete, or socialite. Just me. I wasn't born in Beverly Hills. I have fat feet. They're cute though. And I have my own opinion. I am a regular person. I am Just Chamia. Hey everybody, Chamia LaRae here with Derrick O'Neal of NuuEd. And we're going to talk NuuEd, but before we do, tell me, what are you reading and what are you listening to?
Well, I'm not reading anything.
Okay.
I don't really have time to read. Never been a reader. But I love jazz.
Okay.
And you know, I'm one of those type of people that anything I listen to KBLX, 102.9, just general music. I'm not one of the big, I got to listen to, I love Keisha Cole's, but I'm just a regular guy.
All right, cool. And for those who don't know, you tell us a little bit about who is Derrick and your background. Where are you from? Who are you?
Oh man, who am I? Let me see. How can I answer that question? Well, I'm from San Francisco. I was always kind of a child that when you tell me one thing, I've always been inquisitive. I go kind of like, this is what it is. I'm like, no, I want to see, I want to, ask a lot of questions. I want to understand the dynamic of why are you asking me or telling me to do this. My mother called me her favorite son.
Okay. Of how many?
2 boys. 3.
Okay.
We're 3. But it's like, you want to go take a picture? Well, why? It's, why is this holiday? Why do we have to do this? Son, everybody's doing it.
Right.
So I don't know if I would just answer who Derrick O'Neal is, he's a person that's inquisitive.
Awesome. Inquisitive Derrick O'Neal from San Francisco.
That's it.
All right, so we're going to talk NuuEd, but before we do, I want to get your opinion on a few select news stories.
Which ones?
All right, well, the first is after nearly 3 years, the Flint, Michigan water crisis is still ongoing. And Flint Mayor Karen Weaver recently told the EPA the city, quote, won't be able to treat its own water for lead and other contaminants until 2019. So we're in 2017. The crisis has been going on since 2014, 3 years, and the mayor is saying they won't be able to treat their water, clean it, for another 2 years at least. So today, residents of Flint, Michigan are still using bottled water every day for cooking, for bathing, for drinking, of course, all of that. According to a recent Essence magazine article, more than a dozen state and local officials have been criminally charged in the Flint, Michigan water crisis. Number one, did you know that it was still ongoing? And if so, where are you hearing about it?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. I generally don't turn on the TV. I don't really like to look at the news. Okay. Because in my opinion, the news, it's about negativity. It's like negative. I don't hear the real problems being talked about. I just hear about the drama. So I don't pay attention to it because everybody has an opinion, and that's just mine. I just don't like looking at the news. All right.
And so Flint is a predominantly black city. Right. We know that, of course, lead poisoning, Legionnaire's disease, countless other illnesses and issues, a lot with the children. We don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. And while there are some officials who have been, quote unquote, charged, do you feel like this is a case of domestic terrorism? Or racially motivated? The fact that you have water, our life source, 3 years later and still ongoing.
I really can't comment on that because I don't know all the facts.
Okay.
So I can't just give you a straight answer what it is. I don't know the city of Flint, Michigan. I don't know the processes and what's going on there.
All right.
To give a valid opinion. Now, what I will say once again is I think it's is not right if that's the case.
And who do you think should pay to fix it? Do you think that the government officials should do it? Do you think that celebrities that have extra should pay to fix it? Do you think that the residents, should just move out? Who should pay to fix it?
Of course, I think the government should fix it. That's my opinion. If that's the state, because we pay a service, right? We pay every month. A bill comes in, you pay it. If something goes wrong, what do? Pick up the phone and call for service.
Right.
So right now it's an issue. So who should be fixing it? The people that give us the service.
Right.
That's my opinion.
There it is. Fix it, Flint, promptly.
Is that correct?
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, every month I pay a bill, and every month, if anything goes wrong, I'm gonna call. If I'm an owner, and it's PG&E or electric or water, I'm gonna call the water company.
Right.
I mean, I don't feel that it's my responsibility to fix that problem.
As a consumer.
Okay.
That's fair. I understand it. All right. There's a new documentary that's coming out that gives new footage around the day before and the day that Michael Brown was murdered in Ferguson, Missouri, and it kind of changes the narrative of him being this big brute who came in terrorizing the store, shows that he had a relationship with the store owner, did some sort of exchange and that kind of thing. There's also a recent story here in the Bay Area where footage was taken of a man being apprehended by a Vallejo police officer, and you see the officer having the man on the ground. The guy sat down in quote unquote a surrender position, and the officer proceeds to punch him in the head, hit him with his flashlight. Even when another officer comes on the scene, the officer is seen on tape drawing his gun, pointing at the crowd, putting it back in his holster, beating the guy some more, all of that. It's a lot. Police brutality can be a daily reality for some black men. In this particular instance, I don't know if you've seen the video, but where you have someone surrendering, you're sitting on the ground and trying to surrender to the cop. Do you think that it's excessive force then for the officer to be punching him in the head and then hitting him with his flashlight, pointing his gun at the crowd and continuing to beat the man? Is that excessive?
Well,
and the reason why I asked that, just a little bit more context, is because several police officer trainers, as well as high-ranking officials within the department and other departments, have said that that's standard operating procedure and how they've been trained.
Like I said, once again, my opinion is this. My brother is a cop. He's a police officer. Myself, I feel that we don't really talk about the real issue. We talk about police brutality, but we don't talk about black on black crime. We don't never get into that problem. See, when we do reality shows, they only report what they feel that will get ratings. And right now, the media is talking about police on black crime, white on black crime, because they want to get that coverage. But why is it I don't ever see about every single day we killing more of ourselves than anybody ever? I don't even like talking about police brutality on blacks. I want to talk about how can we stop black on black crime.
Right.
I mean, I just looked at, like you said the other day, I was on YouTube, I was looking for some educational content, and I don't know why they want to show young black American brothers
fighting each other.
No, with AK-47s and double clips.
Oh wow!
And talking about killing down the street. Talking about brutality. They want to take my son and my grandson's walking down the street. What you think they're gonna do to you in certain areas? That's gonna be more than brutality.
Right. Why
don't we talk about how can we get these guns and the black killing from our inner cities? What we gonna do about that?
Right.
And why don't I don't ever see any conversations about that? Yeah, I feel like there's some officers that I have a lot of good, I'd say hate. I mean, really dislike the police. Me and my brother, I love them, look up to them, But when he joined the force, I was upset with him because I was raised, this is not the first time we've seen this. I was raised on this. It was worse.
Right.
But
no dogs being sick on people and
no,
water
I was in the
hoses and
70s.
things like that now.
I seen that.
Yeah.
In the 70s and the 70s. But what I'm saying is, once I started going into the police stations, going on ride-alongs with my brother, seeing how just we can be driving down the street and black men just throwing cans at our car.
Wow.
We had to roll down the window halfway. And I asked my brother, why we with the, because if we get shot at, the window, it stops the bullet.
Okay.
So I'm just there's a lot of things that the officers go through that is not reported, but there's always a bad apple. One. I don't believe that all police officers are bad, because I have a lot of police officer friends. When I see them in San Francisco now, they just regular people.
Right.
And a lot of our people, when I ain't gonna lie to you, we tend to carry ourselves. Now, Mike Brown, I don't know that situation, but when you look at the overall picture, I don't know, was he disrespectful? I don't know that. And I don't know this cop or this police officer was a bad one. And it seems like, I don't have all the information, but for me, it's two ways.
So let me ask you this: as a black man, as a father, a brother, a member of the community, one of the things that you did bring up is black on black crime. So what are the conversations that you have amongst your friends, or what are the things that you tell to your sons, both about respecting in the community, respecting other black men and women, and being a responsible citizen, and then also what do you tell them about engaging with police officers?
Well, number one, what I tell my sons and any young black man is that we should support each other. We should pick each other up. My goal in life is to help anybody who wants to be helped. I tell, it's the way you carry yourself. Yeah. I drive Uber, and I noticed if you put on if you professional, you get that kind of response. But if you come with this type of attitude, sagging, and I just trying to, we need a lot of training. Yeah. And I really want to say that to young black men. This is the way you carry yourself, is the way you get treated. Now, I'm not going to say, my son, for instance, went to college, he called me up, he got jumped on. And I asked him, he said, well, they just felt that one of our friends had dreadlocks. And of course, they pulled him out of the car, all of them. And my son was a victim of it in Houston. I was as a parent, I was the first person on the plane. Yeah. But that one incident doesn't define that whole department. Right. So I want to know that officer.
And it doesn't define your son and his friend's existence.
Right. It doesn't. It doesn't. So, there's bad apples on both sides. I think that needs to be identified. If you a bad officer and you taking because some people take power, and I've seen that. I've seen officers that you could tell instantly. For me, I have an attitude problem sometimes. So I've learned to keep my mouth shut, because I know whatever comes out of it, that may ignite. What I kill officers with was kindness. How you doing, officer? And that's what I tell young black men. But I'm not saying to kiss anybody's butt. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a certain way you carry yourself in business and anything you do to get what you want. Right. Even if you don't like it, I tell everybody, you may not like it. I don't like that. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I'll do it to get what I want to come out across.
Right, and survive the situation.
And survive the situation. I like, you know what?
Survive the situation.
That's it.
All right, so let me ask you this too. One of the things that you said that I don't hear a lot of people doing is that you've gone on ride-alongs with your brother. You've gone in and established relationships, with different police departments and gone on. One of the things that I haven't seen in the news, but I've seen it on this brother's Facebook page, Paul Chambers of K2VU, shout out to you. And I'm going to keep talking about this because I think it's fantastic. He's a journalist, and he has posted some videos hosting these community forums and barbershops with police officers and members of the community, black members of the community, saying, hey, let's talk on both sides. Let's just sit down and have a conversation. So just from like what he's doing and bringing folks together, and what you've done and going and establishing relationships with police officers, do you think that we need to do more of that to bridge this divide, or the us versus them mentality between blacks and law enforcement? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I believe that if you get to know the officers personally, I believe you have a different look. And if the officers understand this look, because it's like you're taught a certain, over here you have this look, they identify that, oh, he's a bad guy, and that's not true,
right?
You know, but we do have some guys that look like this that are bad guys, and will, you know, what they say, bust a cap in a heartbeat. So you put them on guard.
Yeah.
So yes, there's some dialogue needs to take place.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
I mean, that's it.
All right. Hashtag ATL Orgy was trending on Twitter recently after Sydney Green, who's an Atlanta woman, created a website and posted some videos advertising her upcoming birthday party, which was going to be a sex/slumber party in Atlanta. So you buy a ticket online, and then you go and you spend the night and eat some food, listen to some music, and get your groove on. In interviews, Green has stated that she believes that people get STDs if they have the wrong energy that attracts those STDs. She also says that she likes having unprotected sex, or raw dogging as she calls it, with people who she feels she vibes with on an energy level. According to a recent article in Managed Care magazine, the CDC estimates that at any given time more than 100 million Americans have an STD. The article also stated that rates for STDs are on the rise, especially chlamydia and syphilis. I also want to say that CNN reported that there are record rates of syphilis in newborns. So as of the year 2000, syphilis was pretty much eradicated. We didn't see syphilis around, but now it's back, and it's back with a vengeance. So in 2014 to 2015, for example, we saw a 27% increase in syphilis cases in women. So again, now then you're seeing more infants being born with syphilis as well. Lots to talk about here. Let's start first with talking about the STD part of things, especially in the black community. And you look at Atlanta, which is known as like the HIV/AIDS capital of the world, more black women being infected nationwide, but certainly there than anywhere else. What should we be doing? Should we be having more conversation or having more sex education in schools and in communities, and talking about safe sex, testing, and prevention? Or are those conversations happening?
Well, it's like always. I believe in scared straight.
Okay.
I believe that photos tell a story. When I was in sex education classes, they used to have these classes, right? And they used to put up photos of the particular disease. And my mother, she would say, son, she'd educate, us, and she'd be very candid about what we need to do when we have sex. Protect yourself.
Right.
And then she'd sent me to a special class. And in that class, they scared me straight with
pictures.
With pictures.
This is your brain on drugs. This is your gynae on herp.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know that, but we need to have that.
Okay.
I mean, seriously understand what can happen to me. You could talk it, but to see it, totally different effect.
Right. So do you think, certainly we need to see it, but where do we need to see it? There's commercials for everything now, and growing up in the 70s and 80s, there were commercials about this is your brain on drugs, and things like that. There were sex education classes. Do you think in a society of social media and technology today, and sensationalism and glitter and gold and celebrity, do you think it would be more impactful to have songs talking about safe sex, to have social media ads about safe sex, to have TV commercials during Super Bowls and things like that about safe sex and testing? Or should it just be on, at the school level and in homes?
No, I just say keep it real, and just when you say songs, no, just keep it real and just show people what it does.
Okay.
Just keep, I mean, and I'm like, don't be nice about it.
I like it.
I mean, I think that kids don't, when you say sing a song, for me, sing a song and say what? No, but you blast a picture.
Right.
I think it's a greater effect on somebody. We're visual.
Right.
90% of people are visual.
Visual learners, right. All right. It's impactful. One of the things with Sydney Green, and there are some things about her stance on sex that I agree with. And
what's that?
I don't talk about my opinion so much here on this show, but there are some things that she says in terms of liberation and freedom of expression that I think are okay, but not so much about, STDs being contracted if your energy ain't right. All that's to say, her opinion is her opinion, yes. But the dialogue or the questions really that I have for you are around, number one, is there still some stigma of men versus women expressing their sexual openness? Because this sister, she said, hey, this is who I am. And this isn't the first time. She's a blogger. She says a lot of different things about, sex and sexual expression. But coming from a woman, people will look at her and say, oh, but you're ugly, or you look like an ape, or you're a hoe, or you're this or you're that. However, if it's a man talking about his sexual exploits, it's not necessarily the same response always online in the comments that you see. Is that your experience or what you've seen, that there is some disparity still between men and women when there's regarding sexual expression?
Well, I really don't have a comment on that.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Last thing, because this is something that I certainly hear about in songs. We see lots of memes and things like that on social media. Glamorizing or really supporting and talking up raw dogging or having unprotected sex. I don't know if there's necessarily anything wrong with it, but in terms of young people and speaking to them about having unprotected sex, what are your thoughts on that?
I already answered that question.
All right. He had an experience, put a picture up.
That's it.
All right.
I mean, at the end of the day, it pisses me off. Because we want to sugarcoat it. Why? If you want to talk about something, show it.
Right.
I don't feel that. I think it's like, oh my God, you showed this in class today? Parents gonna get upset?
It's real life.
It's real life, and I feel we should really dive into the realness of it.
Right.
And not sugarcoat it. That's just my opinion.
Love it. Keep it real.
You want to see what it look like, don't you? If
rather see it than experience
my grandson,
what it looks like.
I'd prefer, why sugarcoat it? I prefer to show him this is what it is when you do A, B, C, and D. If you choose to do this, is what happened. This is like I tell any young man, if you choose to do the crime, you're gonna do the time. You choose to sleep with her, and she gets pregnant, you gotta take care of your responsibility. If you choose, if you you get STD that you can't get rid of, you
gotta live with that.
So talk about it for real. Show it.
Yeah.
Do they even know what syphilis look like?
I don't think so. I don't think people do, but there are pictures and things that you can see. I know because I give talks.
Oh, you do?
That. I do. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
All right. A recent Yahoo News article stated that there's a bill moving through Congress that would allow companies to require employees to undergo genetic testing or be penalized thousands of dollars, and will give employers your genetic and other health information. So, I know the masses don't know about this moving through Congress right now. There's a lot of laws that are in place to protect your medical information, to shield things from employers and things like that. If this were to pass, do you think that this is going to lead to certainly privacy concerns and discrimination practices within companies?
I don't know anything about it, so I can't really comment on that.
Okay. All right. Well, this is something that we should be keeping an eye on, because this is I don't know where this law generated from, but it's moving through Congress. It's already passed through the House, through the Senate, and it's going through the House, and this can be new legislation. And the hope, a lot of companies now have wellness programs for their employees, and they're looking at not just like medical, dental, vision, but also gym memberships, like total body wellness, like work-life balance, all of that. And so some people who are arguing for this is saying, hey, well, now we can offer more comprehensive wellness programs for our employees. And those who are opposed to it are saying, forget all that. It's just an invasion of privacy and can lead to more discriminatory practices, both in healthcare coverage and what's offered to people saying you have existing comorbidities or are genetically predisposed to something, or employers saying, hey, you have this issue, maybe even though it's technically illegal to discriminate against people for disabilities or things, maybe not. There aren't laws against if you have certain genetic biomarkers. So it's just something I guess we need to keep an eye on. Right? No comment.
No comment.
No problem. According to a recent RT article, Chief Constable Simon Bailey, so this is in Britain, said that not all pedophiles should be jailed. Particularly those who have not actually had physical contact with children. And where this is coming from is he feels like they're just being inundated, and prisons are being overcrowded and all that with guys who haven't actually had sexual contact with children. According to a 2015 National Crime Agency study in Britain, an estimated 750,000 men were interested in having sex with children. So this is what's happening over the pond, but certainly the world is watching, or should be watching, what happens with this, where you have heads of law enforcement saying that not all pedophiles should be jailed, only those that maybe actually have physical contact with children. Do you agree with that? Or your thoughts? Your thoughts.
I don't like pedophiles. And my opinion, they should never be let out to see the light of day. That's just it. I don't even like talking about that subject.
Right.
Gets me a little angry. You know why you asked me that question?
I asked the question because this is a groundbreaking story that people should be talking about, where you have head of law enforcement agency in a country, a large country, that has skyrocketing numbers of men even expressing interest in children, saying, hey, if you're looking at child porn but you haven't actually touched a kid, maybe let's warn you, let's watch you, but you don't necessarily need to go to jail for that. But is watching child porn still acting against children?
I don't even like talking about that. Like I said, being nice about it, it's like I can't be nice about it to even imagine an adult touching my grandson. There's no law or nobody that can stop me if that's the case. So I thoroughly disagree and would not like to even go to visit a government that will allow that, period. I don't even like talking about it.
Right.
That infuriates me.
Right.
Why do you even ask me that question?
Because people need to know about it.
I mean,
here you go. People need to know about this, that these are the laws and the things that are being discussed and policies that are being put in practice all around our world. So you want to know about it. If you want to go visit there, or you have family there, or just whatever,
true.
Even if you're not, people need to know that these are the practices and laws that are coming out. So,
well, like I answered it, I wouldn't even visit that state.
All right.
That country.
The Associated Students of Madison at the University of Wisconsin-Madison have issued a resolution stating that black students should receive free tuition. And the other things that they said was that suburban students, or white students primarily, are overrepresented, and that current admission practices basically uphold white supremacy there, and long-term racist practices, within the university and within that area. So this is a student-led change. The students at this university are saying, hey, this is what we're seeing. There's a lack of diversity here. Not only is there a lack of diversity, but there's flaws in our admission practices. We're pulling from all of these suburban areas, but not from these other underprivileged areas. And this is just continuation of a long-held racist cycle. What do you think about these students rising up and saying something like that? There hasn't been a policy change yet, but the students are pushing for that policy change.
I think that all students should have free education. I think that, us as a country should figure a way out to give everybody a free education. Free health insurance. Why are we not going towards that direction? Because, it's I've experienced, it's not just about black, white, brown. We all, Obama, really brought the masses together. And I would like to see more, talk about togetherness and how we can figure it out as a country, not just one race.
Yeah.
Right? I just feel that we should all have a free education.
That's awesome. One of the things that they were saying here is not just the admission costs being free, but also housing and all the other fees and things like that. Because you have a lot of students pay for your books, all of that. So yeah, what are you going to say? How are you going to pay for your books and so on and so forth? All of those things associated should be free. And you're saying that college should be free. Is that junior college level, across the board, even Ivy League?
All education.
Okay.
Tell me, I'm like, why can't we have that type of system? We have other countries that have, free systems, right? I know they said, well, somebody got, okay, we got enough, let's figure it out, right? Why don't we sit at the table and figure out how can we give you a free education?
Okay, and that would apply to trade schools and things like that, because university isn't for everyone.
I understand.
What are the levels to this?
Well, there's when we say free, right? There's a type of system where you might want me to use your product, your hair product, right? I'm gonna give you a free education, but there's for you doing that, you're gonna get a discount, or you're gonna get some sort of payment from this company for selling you papers, or I just think there's a way. And like for instance, my company, it's free to download an app, right? But that's for the student, right? It's free to download, use the product. It's free to search the internet, right? But it's really not free because there's companies that have millions and billions of dollars, billions.
Hello, Facebook. Hello, Google.
Billions. Because there's people
Instagram
out there that want the student to see what you're doing. Right. And the person has to pay to see that's on this platform. I mean, they charge you a fee to be on this platform for all these free students. So I don't understand why we can't, why it can't be free.
So there's a way, maybe subsidizing education through corporate sponsorship.
And so I have a hard time understanding that. I think that I'm passionate about education. I understand, in regards to systems, when you build systems, you got to pay for them. Yeah. Right? I got that. I do. I understand that totally. But do we have to take it to this level? Or do we take it to a point where we can take the money, like for me, I take the money that I earn on my site, on my company, and I put back in to the education. I take a percentage of that. If you pay for a report on my system, there's going to be a percentage going into a college fund for students that can't afford school. I really want to work my system.
So let's talk NuuEd. First, what is it? So for those who don't know, what is NuuEd or NuuEd.com?
Well, what it is it's a platform that understands a learning style, personality of a person. We wanted to create a platform that is geared towards who you are, not just in education, but the person, because we all different. Right. I'm into that. And I feel that we should have content and products that are geared to the way you understand them, right? Not just with Derrick, because I understand something different. Right. Like this interview today. I don't like this interview. It might be different for somebody else than it is for me. Right. Right. So my product, it really addresses that.
And how did you start the company? Where did this idea come from?
Well, it came from, I have some educational challenges. I suffer from dyslexia. I suffer from concentration on when I'm reading. I didn't know that when I was in school, right? And I struggled majorly, big time. And when I became a father, I had twins, right? And instantly, I was married, and my wife, she's very educated, and I remember my twins being there doing homework, and as a smart lady, she tried to teach them, but they learn differently, and she gets so frustrated because they both looked at things differently. Right. And they look at the same work, and she was so frustrated. And I used to always tell her, why don't we try something different? Well, that concept of tailoring information to the way they understand
on an individual level.
On an individual level. Because they had different personalities. Matter of fact, my twins didn't even like wearing, everybody like to dress the same. They totally different. So why not tailor information like that? So it started that way, but later on, I carried out, it's always been in my mind, how can we put a product out there? So that's when I got a mentor that helped me foster and make me understand how we can do that. And that's how it came. It just started growing from there.
Right. And it's an app, so this is awesome. And in California, I know Blacks in Tech is a hot button issue right now. And so here we have a brother who started his own tech company, which is awesome. Rounds of applause for that.
However.
Rounds of applause for that. Hello, pause on that moment. That's fantastic.
Right.
But I want to talk about this app and this platform right now.
Me too.
So what ages or what students are the target age for this? Is it for high schoolers or
it's for all learners? Anybody. What we wanted to do was first create a platform. It's like it's a search engine, and we created a mechanism of we understand that everybody, 90% of the people, if you ask them what kind of learner they are, they'll say, "Oh, I'm a visual learner," right? So we understood that we have to create a hook. Every song has a hook.
Right.
Our hook is pictures. We created an assessment process. We said, okay, what's that process right now? You take an assessment and you check a box. I said, no, I want to do something different than that. Here I go, me being different. I want to do something different. What if I put a picture up? People identify with things visually.
Right.
I can better understand you like that. That was the starting process. From that, we established a baseline of understanding who you are. Now, when you say you need help in something, I have a baseline that you're a visual learner. So in math, we're gonna go, our engine goes out any and everywhere and brings back content.
Based on how you learn.
So if I like right now, I like a woman to interview me. I like visual. So because our system understands that, it'll bring back visual content with a lady that's doing instruction.
Okay.
It really, I want to really kind of tailor things to understand of an individual. I think that'll help them understand best. Now what we did was, we took that philosophy and we took our process into reading in the Benjamin Franklin Middle School, and we wanted to see, does it work? And I was nervous the very first day I went into the classroom. You got all these different kids, and I'm like, how in the hell is it one educator is tailoring and have to deal with all these different learning styles?
Right.
I have so much respect for educators, whether it's employees or, because employers got different employees, and I just got a newfound respect because I see it. But what happened is, when I went into class, I had to have a hook.
Yeah.
I said, okay, this is our product. It understands what is a learning personality. Well, what do you do? And it's like, okay, if you sit down and try to understand and work and try the product, we'll put you on a reality show. That was the hook.
That was the hook, right.
But once they started doing our product, they forgot about the show and really was, they really was ready to get into class now, because the next week when I came back, it was a different environment. The teacher was able to go, and because now we have a system that you click and you can see the whole class dynamic on each individual student. So
real quick, so the data, once the assessment is done, it's given to teachers? Is it given to parents?
It's given to teachers and parents. Yes, a parent to get an alert.
Okay.
Once you take the assessment, the parent to give you an alert where your student is at.
Okay.
In regards to a report. They give you a full on-line report on the type of learner you are. Your word comprehension, pronunciations, it'll break everything down for you. The parent can see that instantly. The teacher, she can see it from her desk. She can see it.
Why do we need this? I mean, because, and the reason why I'm asking this is coming from, obviously people have been learning in various, or however they learn, for thousands of years.
Really?
And so they've been learning however they learn for thousands of years, and teachers are doing what they're doing now. So where is this tool going to be useful in a school environment? So you have this assessment, you give the data to the teacher, and then they create an individual education plan, which is the IEP or something like that for each student.
I have to correct you on something. You said that students have been learning the way they want to learn for many years.
Not the way they want to learn, but they've been learning how they learn.
Well, you just said the key.
Okay.
The way they want to learn has not been done.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
See, and that's where we feel there's a problem. The way they want to learn,
right,
how they learn, hasn't been done. It's been you in front of an educator. She's been taught a certain, or he's been taught a certain way, and it's a standard of the way he has to teach or she has to teach. But you just said it. What about we try the way they want to learn? That's simple,
right,
for us, and we should implement that.
Right.
And we feel that is our key to success.
One of the things that I've seen over the years, especially in the last 15 and 20 years, it seems like there's been a surge in behavioral issue diagnosis, especially amongst urban children. So diagnosing Black, brown, or other minority children with ADD or other attention issues, where in some cases it might not be that there's an actual attention deficit issue, more so that they're having an issue with learning or grasping the concepts. And really where I'm getting to now is really asking you and fleshing out that there is a need for this, or we're not talking about bridging those gaps, especially in our urban education systems, where you're not really diagnosing an issue with how a person is learning. You're instead saying that there's a behavioral issue. Have you seen that?
No. I've seen, kids, you would think it's a behavioral issue. Like I said, when I first came in, I'm like, oh.
Right. The wild bunch.
I'm like, wait a minute. No. I'm talking about, quote unquote, the inner city.
Right.
Okay. Behavior. I'm like, wait a minute. I got a certain group of kids I really like, and when you go next door to the class next door, it's a little wild. But like I said, if you bring a product in the way they want to learn, it's a whole different scenario dynamic. The kid that was over here last week, that was all in the class, all out wild, that was me. But when all of a sudden now you got a problem, you know what? You finally giving us something that the way I want to learn. Now I done raised my reading levels 40%.
And you're excited about that.
Man,
you're excited.
I'm just so glad that you asked that question. Because I truly believe, we misdiagnose our inner city kids when they have behavioral problems. Why don't you just try to meet them where they're at? Try that.
And one of the things I want to talk about too, and this was so awesome, and I met this brother just real quick, and he told me a quick, hot little second. I said, I got to do a little bit more research about this because I'm really intrigued by it. Tell folks where this is being used right now in the education system and some of the results that you guys have seen to date with using NuuEd.
Well, this
is amazing.
Well, we haven't seen it used in the educational system. We believe we're the first to implement the understanding of the uniqueness of the person. We hear personalized learning tools, customization. I think that's where we're going. We injected the process into Benjamin Franklin Middle School in Vallejo, and we had some good results. We raised reading levels in 2 weeks, 40%.
It's amazing.
40%. And we're saying that we want to prove it. We've done that. And I've already seen where it has a lot of benefit in regards to behavior, where it saves people time, where it gives the teacher benefit, the parent. The teacher has a benefit. Because she knows who they are now. The kids are now saying to the other teachers, hey, I'm this type of learner. And that's a good thing to see the kids talk about this around the school. It's going viral. When they see me walk in now, they be like, hey, Mr. O'Neal. I'm like, are you in there? No. I'm like, hey, Mr. O'Neal. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? It's not why, but how come we haven't spent money in this field instead of just spending it and bringing us in the classroom? I mean, I could say one thing, bringing us in a office and say, well, you need this kind of medicine.
There's a pill for that.
There's a pill for that.
There's a pill for that. Yeah.
I feel the pill is understanding it.
Right.
That's my pill.
So what does success look like for you in terms of NuuEd? Where do you want to see this go, both in terms of dialogue as well as in actual practice?
I want it to go in all educational verticals. I want to give everybody an overall good experience with the way who they are. And I mean, adults, students, everybody. I want to inject this process. It can go, we want to prove it, that it can go into a parent that's coming and not understand how to help their student or their child. I want to go into educators to better understand their classrooms. I want to go into businesses that don't understand employees, because they spending millions and millions of dollars to train their supervisors to understand. So I wanted to go in all verticals.
Awesome.
Period.
And so if people want to buy or purchase the software to have you come in or and do a talk about this, or just to learn more, how do they do that?
Well, I want to talk about something.
Okay.
I want to talk about, I get a little upset and it irritates me a little bit. I can look at, like you said, the news, and I'll see a lot of millions of people looking at crime. I can look at little shows on people need some bikes. And they do major stories on that.
Right.
I can see stories of kids that want to play sports, even although everybody's not going to make it in sports.
Right.
But you'll do a major story on that. But what I get mad and upset about, you do a story on people raising their reading levels.
No, you don't do a story on people raising their reading levels.
You don't hear
that.
You don't see it, you don't hear it, and it'd be like they'll question you. Because I feel that nobody wants you to learn the way you want to learn. They want you to learn the way I want to teach you. You're not going to learn the way you want to learn.
Why do you think we aren't talking about that? We're not having that dialogue.
Because you know why? People like yourself won't report it. You know, that's just it. You're a journalist, right?
I am a journalist, and I am reporting.
No.
So not people like me, but those mainstream folks.
It's the truth, though. It's a journalist. Well, you're a journalist, right? I'm just saying the journalist.
Okay.
I think that drama sells.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have drama connected to your program, I don't think nobody want to do a story on it. That's just my opinion.
Right.
I get really upset with that. And I don't even want to do any interviews with journalists. You know, because if it's not positive, you know, if they want to talk about how bad the kids, that's not true. I love these kids. I mean, I couldn't believe that I got so back in tune and attached, because I see that they want to learn the way they want to learn, and they feel so. And you should see them, Mr. O'Neal, and they're gonna give me letters, and they talk about it.
Yeah.
Instead of giving them a appeal. That's my appeal. Yeah. And if you do a story on that, I think
and the confidence it creates in the children and all of that.
You know, and it's like, okay, well, Mr. O'Neal, did you do this? Did you do? I'm like, well, 40%. If I had some support, I want to make it even better. I already proved the concept. Yeah. Right. But I don't think I'm gonna get that support.
Well, we're not speaking that into existence. He is gonna get the support because we're gonna help support him.
There's no drama.
That's great.
It's just great love and to give these kids an opportunity, or the learner, or the parent, the way you want to learn. You said it. Yeah. It hasn't been done because you said they've been doing it a long time. It hasn't.
No, they haven't been doing this a long time. No. People have been teaching how they teach, and people have been learning how they learn for a long time. But this is going to revolutionize. It is revolutionizing how students learn. But the other thing, and you may have not caught that, but the other thing that is revolutionizing and I love is how children feel about themselves.
Definitely.
And it's not just for children. And one of the things that you mentioned is that it can be used in companies to determine how your employees learn and how each one of them engage on an individual level. It can be used across many different platforms. And I think that's important too. Because when you build up the individual, you build up the person and your own mentality and your own self-esteem, there's so much more that you can do. And that's something that, you know, your company is doing. It is helping certainly the reading level and the educational outcomes, but it's helping build better people, better individuals, and that's amazing.
Most definitely. And we're looking to partner with organizations that believe in our philosophy also. You know,
treating people on an individual level. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just something that, like I said, we just wanted to go take our process into the reading, just the reading alone, just our search engine, where our search engine will go out and bring you content that is tailored to you. And when I say tailored, I hate using the word tailored, but the way you understand, the way you see things. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about.
And I love that because we're all individuals.
Yes.
We might have lots of things in common, but we're all individual and unique in how we learn, and that's fantastic. So
I see stories too.
Yes, and I agree with you that we haven't heard about this, and we don't see stories talking about this great news where we don't see a lot of stories about large rates and huge scale increases, like 40% increase in reading and things like that. So
I tell you what,
in 2 weeks, that's amazing.
I tell you
and
what,
we do need to talk about that.
I tell you what I do see stories
I
on.
want to fly a plane that says that.
And there's gonna be a lot of people mad at me. A lot of people gonna be mad at me. I see a lot of stories being done on black women, in their organizations, their business, like Black Coder Women Think, and black. I don't see stories done on the black founder or the black male.
Okay.
In our technology, where we have a lot of these young African American men that I feel need to see more role models in industries that they feel like they can't get into. And I'm saying that, you can get into technology because, I don't see anybody that's like me.
So I'm going to disagree with you and agree with you.
Okay, tell me one.
I'm disagreeing with you that we're seeing a lot of stories about black women coding and black women in tech. We're not seeing a lot of stories.
We're not?
We're seeing some stories now.
Really?
Over the last few. We're not seeing a lot of stories. We need to see more of that.
Wow.
But where I agree with you is that, yes, we do need to see stories about black men doing the same thing. Black men in tech, black men founders, all of that as well. We need to see more on both. We don't see a lot about minorities in coding and in tech and founders and all of that.
Differ.
Well, that's why I say I disagree with you on that point, and that's okay. I don't see a lot of stories, and I read a lot, and I watch a lot. We see some stories. We see some now.
In the Bay Area.
We see some now. We don't see a lot. A lot is a different thing. A lot of the stories are about others. They're not about black women in tech. There's some stories now, and certainly there are more about black women doing it than there are black men. And I agree that there needs to be some about black men, but there needs to be more about black men and black women in tech. And I'll just say minorities in tech, period, overall.
Yes.
We need to do a better job overall in minorities in tech as well as in some other industries, including biotech, etc.
Yes,
definitely.
I believe that because, like I said, we have the minority diversity group in the city. It's not just one dynamic anymore. When I go in the city now, I see everybody. It's like everybody, right? So, and I love it. I love to go into the school and see the confidence now. Yeah, I want to bring that energy.
What's next for NuuEd?
Same thing. Is to bring this to all learners across the globe. Okay. The next step is right now is to further prove. It's still a fight. It's a battle for me. I got to keep proving and keep, the fight of taking this to different areas. Yeah. And I'm not going to give up. So that's the thing.
Please don't.
I don't want nobody to see me give up.
It's so necessary. Please don't give up. And where can people find out more about you, about NuuEd, if they want to get in touch, if they want to learn more about the product, where can they find all that and find you?
They can go to NuuEd. We spell NuuEd NuuEd. We wanted to be unique because the individuals is unique, so we wanted to create a unique way of saying new. The NuuEd. All right. So it's NuuEd.com. NuuEd.com. Awesome. They say, well, how come you? That's why, because we're unique.
I love it.
You love it?
I do. That's why you're here. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed you. I appreciate your opinion. Yeah,
that's it? You ain't nothing else?
For this one.
You sure?
Just for this one. There will be more. But we're definitely gonna keep tabs on Mr. ONeal and certainly NuuEd, and this is dialogue that we need to continue, and anything that we can do to support, and anything you can do to support this brother and this movement is fantastic. Please do so.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
All right.